In this next installment of Growing Together with Christ, I want to talk to you just for a few moments about the subject of prayer. This past Sunday morning, we began a series on prayer entitled, Lord, Teach Us to Pray. I found it very interesting that in Luke chapter 11, verse 1, that the apostles asked Christ, Lord, teach us to pray. They did not ask Christ, Lord, will you teach us how to raise the dead, or will you teach us how to do miracles? Will you teach us how to turn the water into wine, or how to turn the fishes, how to multiply the 5 loaves and 2 fishes into basketfuls? They didn't teach them any of that. They didn't ask any of that. They simply said, Lord, will you teach us how to pray? So then we went back this past Sunday morning to Matthew chapter 6. And I'm going to read to you verses 5 and 6. It says, And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are. For they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. But verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, or but you, when you pray, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. The great writer of the devotional book, My Utmost for His Highest, Oswald Chambers, he said this about prayer. He said, we need to think of prayer as the breath in our lungs and the blood from our hearts. Our blood flows and our breathing continues without ceasing. We are not even conscious of it, but it never stops. Prayer is not exercise. It is the life of the saint. It is coming into perfect fellowship and oneness with God. And I'm going to be honest and frank with you and very transparent with you just for a moment. Of all the spiritual disciplines that are out there, prayer is the hardest one for me to do. For me to sit down with my Bible and to read my Bible and to pray, or to study my Bible, to prepare for sermons or for Bible studies, it is not really an issue. Now, there have been times where it has been a struggle, so I'm not going to say that it hasn't. But more times than not, it is not really a struggle. But I'm going to be honest with you, prayer is a struggle. There have been times where during my prayer time, and I have finished praying, that I just feel completely wore out, that I feel like I have been just completely beat up on. And that's because Satan and the forces of evil do not want us to pray. So in these verses, Christ is telling us how not to pray. Then he's telling us how to pray. He says in verse 5, he says, do not pray as the hypocrites pray. Now, how is it that they loved, or how is it that they prayed? Well, they simply prayed to be seen and heard by men. I made a couple of notations. That praying is not a sign that a person really knows God. There are many people that do not know God. The Hindus pray, but they just add God to their hundreds of other gods. So they truly do not know God. There's the Muslim that prays 5 times a day, but they don't know God. They know of God, but they do not know God personally. So prayer is not a sign that a person really knows God, but if a person really knows God, he will pray. So Christ says that a person who prays to be seen by men, he loves to pray because he is a hypocrite. So here's a question for you. Why do you pray? That is what Christ is asking here in verses 5 and 6. What is your motive for praying? So the wrong motive is that of the hypocrites, and that is to be seen and heard by men. But the right motive by praying is to be heard by God, and that is in verse 6. A couple of notations there. Number 1, we must take time to pray. It says in verse 6, when you pray. Do you pray? Do you set aside time each and every day to spend some time with God in prayer? Do you pray? Next thing is this. Do you have a private place of prayer? Maybe it's your car. Maybe you pray on the way to work. Nothing wrong with that. Maybe it's an extra bedroom at your house. You just go into that bedroom. Maybe you have an office at home. Maybe you have a spare bedroom. Maybe it's your kitchen table. You get up before anybody else is up. You fix a cup of coffee. You sit down at your table. You get out your Bible. You get out your devotional book. You get out your prayer journal and you pray. That is your prayer closet. Nothing wrong with that. But do you have a specific time and a specific place to pray? And then thirdly is a personal relationship. Because it says there that when you pray, that your Father who sees you in secret will then reward you openly. So let me give you some applications real quick. The sin is not failing to pray. The sin is the motive in one's prayer. We are instructed to pray in secret because God is interested in our substance, not our show. And then thirdly, the reward of the genuine prayer warrior is open blessings. So when you get in that prayer closet, pray unobserved. Don't brag about your prayer life. Pray unobserved. Pray undisturbed. Turn everything off. Turn the television off. Turn your phone off. Turn your internet off. Whatever it is that is distracting you, turn it off. And then thirdly, unheard. Don't go out of your prayers closet. Once again, it kind of goes with that unobserved category. Don't go out and start bragging to everyone about your prayer life. Let God reward you openly. God bless you. I hope this is an encouragement to you today. If you have any questions or some comments, please feel free to email me, pastordwayne.lbc@gmail.com. Have a great day. God bless you.